BBC News Africa has released a documentary recently which has set the world ablaze.
Greetings from the synagogue.
Nobody would knowingly join a cult. It will just take you, and when it's grabbed a hold of you, it infiltrates your mind.
You know, somebody says, well, I will never be deceived by a cult. I'm too smart for that, too wise for that. I'll never be taken in. Right around the corner, the devil has a deception for you.
I will put both of them together. He was like a god to me.
My name is Godwill Agomo Paul. I am from a very poor family.
When you talk of loyalty, I gave him all. I loved him so much.
Okay, in this video, I'm going to use Mark Finley's model of how you identify a cult. He gave about 5 different features in one of his sermons, and I'm going to link the sermon in the description below. It is good to check it out and listen to the power that is in that message and how relatable it is to our culture and society today. Before we get into this video, by the way, make sure you like and subscribe to the page, click the bell icon for more. Give this video a thumbs up so we can push it into the world of YouTube so that the algorithm can spread the message to as many as possible. Let's get to it.
There was a law in the studio. If you want to go and pee, you have to stop by its office.
Number 1, cults have a single powerful leader who becomes the cult's messiah.
If he came into any room and you didn't stand up, that would be considered an offense.
We weren't allowed to read anything. We weren't allowed to watch movies.
You know, he would say what you should wear, what you shouldn't.
There was a law in the studio. If you want to go and pee, you have to stop by its office.
I promise to submit myself to all that you desire of me.
He came with something different, something unusual, something that was never in the Christendom. The whole world had never seen something like this.
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
When he looked into my eyes, he pierced into my subconscious. His eyes were enchanting. I wanted to cry.
Evil spirit.
If you place God and place him, I will put both of them together. He was like a god to me.
Jesus says, many will come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Identifying feature number 2, the cult's leader's word, his teachings becomes absolute truth.
There's so much poverty in this land. He was selfless.
Here is Prophet TB Joshua at the age of 32, cleaning the toilets of the church every day for 3 years.
TB Joshua told us that his coming to the earth was prophesied some 100 years ago. He looked like someone who can solve your problem.
Look what you've done.
Each embarrassment you receive, each insult you receive, each persecution you receive will draw you closer to Jesus.
The first time.
All disciples go through this. Even the most powerful people have to be brought down because he is at the very top all the time.
If there's a plan for you, when you come to that meeting, you won't be able to defend yourself. Shut up! Bye! Keep quiet! What do you want to say? Do you want to argue with Papa? Do you want to argue with daddy?
Man of God, please. Please help me.
That's me speaking.
Number 3, cults appeal to miracles as a sign of their divine credential.
There was a lot of strange things behind closed doors.
The church had documented basically very raw, very rough cut productions of miracles.
Help my brother! Help my brother, man of God!
The people I saw on the videos, they were real. Their ailments, their sicknesses, their suffering was evidently real. And then there were these incredible documented healings.
You can imagine how powerful he was. There are some things I don't know how to explain. You can deliver somebody with evil spirit just with a single sentence.
Why are you hiding? Can't look at your face. Who are you? Agent of Satan. Huh? Agent of Satan. Agent of Satan. Yes, sir.
If people want to talk about him, they talk about him under their breath. They're afraid of his spiritual power.
There is victory in his blood. In his blood. There is healing. There is healing. In his blood. In his blood. There is deliverance. There is deliverance. In his blood. In his blood.
You see, when people are vulnerable, they are in need, and they are looking for something to satisfy their desires, or they're tired of these man-made religions and things which doesn't have the power to appeal to their minds, then they become vulnerable. And as a result of that, that's how they end up in places like this.
Deep within our hearts, we long for something to say, this is the way, walk you in it. When the church downplays the Bible, when the church becomes a social club, when the church becomes just some pious platitudes, young people by the thousands and millions look for answers in cults.
I have no alternative. You just tell yourself, oh, this is my life. I have no alternative.
Very, very, very sad. Friends, we got to be careful. This stuff is happening. It's a lot more common than you think. And don't think this cannot happen to you. Identifying feature number 4. Cults manipulate, use pressure tactics and deception to coerce members into submission, into staying.
The whites, they didn't come to become disciples. It's when they got to the synagogue church, that's when the manipulation starts.
We count ourselves so lucky to have found this little place of miracles, of wonder, in the middle of nowhere.
Some intelligent disciples are being sent to stalk on the whites. It's not everybody that we approach. We look at you when we see the way you fall into what is happening in the synagogue church. We'll come after you.
I just remember sitting there thinking to myself, this is incredible. I feel like I'm sitting in the Garden of Gethsemane under the olive trees with Jesus.
They don't know we are picking them, but myself and TB Joshua, we know what we were doing. He loves young ones, right? He loves young ones, teenagers.
We don't go for the old people. The young ones, they are very vulnerable, and they are the easy people to manipulate, especially unmarried people. Especially unmarried young people.
I was 17 years old.
To use us on the videos, to endorse him, and to get the endorsement of the Western world.
And you are joining us here at the Synagogue Church for Nations after a wonderful Sunday service.
I felt like we all had this truth. We felt the world needed TB Joshua.
Please tell us, what is your opinion of the man of God, Prophet TB Joshua? Have you seen
We'll push them to go and interview so that people outside will see that, oh, synagogue is doing something new. TB Joshua, he was happy. He was really happy.
Never doubt it. He is the man of God.
Number 5. Cults isolate from the outside world, but even from their families, They often foster a fear and a hatred of those outside the group.
Didn't really know anyone's last name, really their age. I was Sister Kara.
I was Sister Annika. That was immediately encouraged to see each other as family.
You can be tempted by your friends, father, mother, sisters. The kind of friend you are having, they are the one leading you to do evil.
We try to persuade them to willingly separate from their people, to willingly stop that constant communication with their homes.
You couldn't contact anyone outside. I didn't have my own cell phone. We didn't have really access to our own personal email. We didn't have our passports. They held them for us.
Say, my past is over. Your past is over now.
Every relationship you have in this world, you have to cut them off. He makes sure you do that. You have no other family. Your family is TB Joshua.
What causes thousands of people to go after cults? What causes thousands of people to be deceived? These people aren't bizarre. These people aren't weird. These people are not individuals who have no sensibilities about them. What causes people to go looking at cults? Cult followers are looking for answers in their life. They're tired of formal religion. They're tired of ritual in religion. They're tired of fake religion. Young people especially can see through all the falseness and all the hypocrisy. They want something real and authentic in religion. You have to be quite committed and quite dedicated to give up your job to follow a cult. You have to be quite committed and dedicated to leave your house behind to follow a cult. Most of these cult members left their families to follow a cult. So when you think about it, they're looking for something in their life. They're very genuine about religion. They're very sincere about religion, but they're sincerely wrong.
This was a powerful documentary, and I would encourage you to finish and watching the rest of it. It's 3 parts documentary, and there's a lot more that they went into. We don't have time to get into all of that in this video. I've said from the beginning, friends, we need to be studying our Bible. We need to know what we believe, why we believe it, where it is found, and how to defend it. Not only that, friends, we gotta be careful when we are vulnerable, when we are hurting, when something is going on in this life, and when we have been disappointed by people. This is a very vulnerable time in your life when cults and manipulation could actually happen. It's a very dangerous time, as a matter of fact. We got to be careful. I would encourage you to watch the sermon by Elder Mark Finley, because he goes in depth, breaking down cults, what they do, how they manipulate, and how they misconstrue and deceive masses of individuals. This could happen to many of us. This could happen to some of the best or the worst of us. Don't ever think you are exempt from it. But I will also say, pray for those individuals, my friends, who are caught up in this. And let's try to meet the spiritual needs of those who may be searching for the Lord, searching for the light, wherever it might be. Well, there's another accusation that is oftentimes made against the Seventh-day Adventist Church. They like to call us a cult.
So with the Seventh-day Adventists, they have the strange teachings of Ellen G. White, and it is a cult around her.
One would be Seventh-day Adventists. I think we're familiar with them. I think it's legitimate to consider Seventh-day Adventism as a cult because they believe that the writings of Ellen G. White are inspired by God.
And I found this to be very ignorant, because when you examine the characteristics of a cult, it's like you can't really say, you should never say a Christian church is a cult just because their teachings is different from yours, or because they believe in the teaching of Ellen White doesn't make them a cult. It's like they like to do the same by calling the Jehovah's Witnesses a cult. They call the Mormons a cult. And I think Christians, we need to be careful with this term, how we use it and how we apply it. We are sugarcoating the meaning of the word, or we are downplay the essence of that word. And how it is actually being used and manifest, oftentimes we're not paying attention to the nature of what is being said and how it is rightfully defined. So for people who are saying that, I would say, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what a cult is. You haven't examined it carefully, and you haven't taken the Bible seriously, and you haven't compared real cults with the SDA church. You are completely off key. You don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, much more could be said about that. I want to end this video right here. And friends, I'll put some links in the description below. Make sure you go and check it out as well. Please be very careful. Be careful. Keep your eyes open. Spend some time in the Word. Spend some time in prayer. And also, just when you are hurting, when you are vulnerable, be very careful during those times of your life. You can be easily misled into the wrong group, into the wrong stuff before you know it, friends. You can find Jesus. All right. Stay in touch. Have a good one. Bye.